Wheatley, and welcome to episode 156 of the Wheatley podcast. Thank you very much for joining us wherever you are doing so. I want to thank my friend Josh, who was on last week. He was in the, I say studio, it's a bedroom basically, but who joined us here, and we had a great chat about kind of random stuff. He's been on before, so it was a really interesting conversation. And thank you to everybody who supported us over on all our social media platforms and our Buy Me a Coffee thing, which I don't like talking about, but there we go. But anyway, thanks for all that. My guest this week is a holistic and empowerment coach, and her name is Lorraine Hogan. How are you doing, Lorraine?
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. Good morning. Yes, for people who don't know, we're recording this on I don't know, it's an all right Sunday morning,
An average Sunday morning.
Yeah, it's like it's January, like, you know what I mean. We can't expect too much, but Lorraine, we always start kind of from the beginning, I guess, where you should start. Could you give us a short history of your upbringing, please?
Yeah, I'm one of 8 children. I'm the eldest girl, but the second eldest. Okay. So the 6 girls, 2 boys. Busy family. We're like stepping stones in the ladder. So yeah, just a really good upbringing. Like, it was busy, I suppose, with all the girls. I would have moved out when a lot of my sisters were younger, so I would have moved out quite young, about 17. So it was, a lot of them wouldn't remember me even living in the house, the younger siblings. But yeah, fun times. We were always like, I was a 70s child, so I grew up in the 80s, so we were always out playing, and it's not like growing up these days. It was very much the community raised a child, and it was really safe. And
just a place, Lorraine, is it? What county were you?
Dublin.
Dublin. And what part of Dublin was it?
Clonsilla.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I did a stint. Make it sound like it's prison. I did a stint in Swords for my school years. And yeah, it's funny. I've talked about this before, but when I was there, I was like, I wouldn't say terrified by the city, but it was,
busy,
yeah, it was just maybe a bit too much. When I go up there now, I actually really enjoy it.
Yeah. Vibrant. But I suppose both my parents are from Carlow, so I would have spent my summer holidays in the country. So I would have always had that balance between city and country life. So that would be a huge reason, I suppose, why I'm really drawn to nature and the country. We would have, spent our childhood growing up on a farm, all our summers. So it was good. I enjoyed it.
Idyllic. Sounds lovely. So when did you first become aware of mental health?
So I suppose looking back now, reflecting, I would have always sort of suffered with some sort of like anxiety as a child. Like, I would have felt like anxious over things, and wouldn't have been able, obviously, as a child, to be able to pinpoint it. Even as a young adult, I wouldn't have been able to pinpoint it, and I would have used. Growing up, like, I would have always been into sports and stuff like that, so I would have always had exercise in my life. So I think that was a great way of me being able to channel my energy. I have a lot of energy as well, so I was, from a very young age, able to channel my own energy and understand my own self and what worked for me, I suppose, with my anxious thoughts and stuff like that. I would have always been really spiritual as well. Like, I would have always been in mass. I was an altar girl. I'd done a lot of praying as well as a young child, so that was bringing me into my spirituality as well, which was good, I suppose, in dealing with your own mental health, but in also having some sort of a faith and a focus on a higher being, or a higher presence in my life. So I was pretty lucky in that aspect, that I was always able to tap into it. And then as I grew older, then I suppose I began to practice yoga at around 20. I began my own yoga journey, and through yoga and breathwork and meditation, I just sort of evolved from there. I just always had a spiritual interest, and just enjoy and know that the tools are so beneficial for me, that's why I wanted to create my own business around that. Exactly.
Yeah, and like, I suppose this is kind of a word, or I suppose like a term that people will use, but it can mean a lot of things to a lot of people and different things. But what would wellness mean to you?
So wellness to me would be a combination of having having the whole full circle. So I would include like exercise, I include nutrition, I include sleep, hydration, but I also include the spiritual aspect of things. So meditation, doing internal work, working through your own healing journey, recognizing patterns of behavior, recognizing where you need to, either step into your own power or pull back a little bit, like imposter syndromes, the mindset, be hugely working on mindset and stuff like that, journaling, being able to tap into your creativity. So it's not just one fits all. I use a lot of modalities in my everyday life, but even in my coaching and in my circles or any of my workshops that I do, I bring a little aspect of each and every one of them, because I think it's not just one thing. You have to have little pieces of everything to create like the whole 360 approach to wellness. And it's different for everybody as well. It's very much what works for you. So if I like to lift weights, that might not be, that's obviously not for everybody, but it's finding what works for you and doing it more often, and just really tapping into you as an individual with a whole range of modalities that you can actually include into your daily life. That doesn't have to be like hours sitting there praying, meditating, anything like that. It can be easy 10 minutes breath, 10 minutes journal, 10 minutes move your body a day. It can be as simple as that. Get enough sleep, drink enough water, and eat in accordance to your goals, as I would always say.
Like my idea of it, maybe 13, 14 years ago, I didn't have the word wellness as such, but I was at the time, like I was having suicidal ideation in this thing and these things. So for me, I just wanted to not have that, so that was, whether I saw it in my head as a goal or it was just something that like was organic, and as I moved to that, I realized, okay, so I got to this point, where can I go from here? And then like exercise, like you say, exercise came in, and like I got a little kind of community around me. And every 2 or 3 years, something changed that, I suppose you don't expect, somebody who's feeling really low to just throw all this, into their lives all of a sudden. But like you say, it does. An important thing of it for me was, like you said about weights, and that's a great example, because I think people would be like, oh, I'm not lifting weights. No, that's like, I don't want to look like this, or I don't want to, but it is all about trying the little bit, those little things. Like meditation is another great one, which I've had in my own journey with, I would say, is the best way of putting it. But, and it is that, like, it's like you evolve, and your wellness journey evolves, I guess.
100% evolves. Like I would say, if someone's looking to start on a wellness journey, or the word even wellness, it's like it's just, I would even just say, don't use the word wellness, and just use the word investing in yourself. So looking at how you can improve your life by investing in yourself first and foremost. So again, it's teasing out a lot of people, like I would have struggled early on in my meditation days, like 20 years ago, I probably began meditation as well. I had such a busy mind, and I have a really busy mind, and I would have struggled to be able to even just allow myself to just be present in that moment, because the thoughts are constantly coming and entering, and that's very normal. So excuse me, it does take time. Everything on your journey is a practice, and practices may not work for everybody. It's not a one fits all for everybody. So it's finding what works for you, finding how you can invest in yourself, and doing that a little bit more. And as you say, the more doors will open, and it'll evolve, and it'll lead on I went from meditation to breathwork. Breathwork is a huge part of my life. I've done some profound healing, and I've had so much creativity through my breathwork practices. And again, it wasn't easy initially when I started it, but now it's something that I couldn't see myself not doing on a daily basis. And it's not sitting lying there for like an hour doing practicing breathwork. It's great when you can do that, but it is just a matter of just tapping into your breath and doing 10 rounds, or 10 breaths. Even 10 breaths is enough, it's finding specifically what you enjoy, what makes you feel good, and how you're giving back to yourself.
So as an empowerment coach, is that like part of what comes into that, your job as an empowerment coach?
So it would be like, as I said, I bring all aspects. So in the empowerment coaching, it's very much specifically led by the client. So whatever area of their life they want to focus on, it's specifically led by that. So again, it could be relationships, it could be business, it could be mental health, can be anything. So that is very much specifically led. But it would always come back to empowering yourself, you know, self-esteem, self-confidence, because if you're not a strong enough person yourself, you're not going to be able to show up for everybody else. Yeah. So you really need to invest in yourself. And like, life is a journey and life is a struggle, and you're not always going to be up high. Like, I've had really low points in my life as well. And, you know, it's the comeback from these really low points. It's the lesson that you learn when you're in this low point, because the lowest points of our life are going to actually bring us to the highest points of our life, because that's when we can recognize that, you know, there is no other way but up. There is no other way but taking care and looking after myself, my mental health, my physical health, my emotional health, my spiritual health. And when the penny finally drops and you're at that low point, that's when the change can happen. That's when the growth can happen, and that's when the learning will happen. So I always say embrace these low points. I had a really low point over Christmas where we had the loss of a really close family member. I was really, really sick, and I was in the middle of planning a huge festival. Mm-hmm. And I was supporting my son also with mental health. And so it was like, you know, but throughout the whole lot of it, I just had to keep coming back to knowing that this is obviously part of my journey, and that I have the strength to follow through with this. I know I can do it, and, you know, keep reminding myself, you know, that, and I did it.
Yeah, absolutely. But people have asked me before, because I'm obviously very open on this podcast about my, you know, being to different types of therapy and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And they'd ask me how did I know when I needed to go back? Because I went back, you know, maybe June or July, and I wasn't feeling very low or anything. I just felt I needed almost like a top up. How would someone know that they might need your help, you know, as an empowerment coach?
I suppose if you're just feeling that your life is stagnant and that there's no movement in your life, or that you're constantly, I would always say, tap into your intuition. So if you have this, like, I had this burning desire my whole life, and I went off in different paths, but I always knew I had this burning desire to help people and to serve people. And I think you just really, it can be really, really scary to listen to your own intuition, to what it is you want to do, to how you want to change your life. So it's very much, you know, tuning into yourself and saying, actually, I need help. Like, I have a coach. I think everybody, if that's the path they want to go down, should invest in a good coach. Like, I coached Alison Canavan in 2020, and she's an amazing coach, and it was a life-changing journey for me. And I would still tap back into that because I need it. And like, even after Christmas, like in the next couple of weeks, I will tap back into some counseling myself because of what I've been through, and I need to be able to deal with how things that have happened, to be able to progress and grow and, you know, move forward. Because, you know, reaching out for help is not a sign of weakness, it's actually a sign of strength. And there's always going to be somebody that can help you or guide you. Like, I would do a lot of just guiding people, and if the coaching there isn't right for them, I'd signpost them to what it is they need. You know, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money either. You know, one session could really show you on the right road. You know what I mean? As to what it is you can do, and you can actually do a lot of the work yourself, but you definitely need some sort of session to find out your direction and to make a plan. I think making plans can be probably one of the most important things, because once you have a guideline, you have a plan, you have a time frame on it, you know, you're definitely going to be more productive.
Yeah, and I thought I was going to the therapy for one thing, and I'm in the first session and I'm realizing, oh, this is not about that at all. And that's what I guess that's what you mean about, like, the guidance of someone who might see through what you think you need, but it's what you really need, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Which is fascinating. But Lorraine, I'll just have a quick advert to read. You know how these things go. But and then we'll jump back into it, all right?
No.
Okay. Fusion Training Centre, Monksland Athlone, a place to train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, martial arts and CrossFit. A great atmosphere with experienced coaches and a real sense of community. If you want to join the team, find us on Facebook at Fusion Training Centre or drop in for a chat. Fusion Training Centre, train like a warrior. So, Lorraine, you mentioned the festival, the huge festival that you were a part of. Can you, for the people who don't know, can you tell us a bit about that and how it got started?
Yeah, so we had a huge festival called Festival Maná in the Midlands, doing a
Mm-hmm.
she last weekend, exactly a week ago, to celebrate women. So the whole idea and concept, I suppose, came to me in a Breathwork, which was very powerful. And it was really about celebrating the women of Ireland, bringing them together. You know, I host a lot of women's circles, and I just was so blown away by the power of women coming together in circle, and how much we really, really need this in our life, but also how much generations ago our ancestors would have always gathered together. Women would
Yeah.
have always gathered together in circle to support each other, to feel held in circle. So the reason we done it in January was because it was to celebrate Nullig Maná.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, a day that traditionally, again, we've sort of lost throughout the years. And I thought it was really significant and important to try and bring that back into our lives as women of Ireland. And then to have it in the heart of Ireland,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm all about the heart.
Yeah.
So to have it in the heart of Ireland and bring in all the holistic modalities and do it for a charity, So Sad, so in support of So Sad, because when I began my circles back this time last year, I was supporting my own son with mental health. He was suffering with a lot of mental health issues. So I really feel like giving back is a huge important thing to me, and it really makes me feel like that I'm doing something productive as well. So we done it in support of So Sad Charity. It's an absolutely incredible charity. Like every €50 raised will go to a young person for an immediate counselling session. Because we all know that the services are there, but they're really hard to
Yeah.
access. And if you need immediate, especially for suicide, if you need immediate help, which you do, the So Sad Charity is an incredible charity to be able to access that help immediately. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's how it all came together, really.
It was, and you know, it's funny. I saw your, build up to it and the post you're putting up and stuff like that. And my friend Karen, who works over there, was talking about it, and obviously they were busy, and but it wasn't, obviously I wasn't there, but until you see afterwards the connection and the love that the people had at it, the videos they put
Yeah,
up, and I saw you resharing all the videos and the pictures and stuff like that. It must give you enormous sense of pride, or just to create an event like that where all these people can gather. And even I saw a video where it was like a downpour towards the end of the day, and where everybody just danced in the rain. Like, it's a beautiful thing to see, and we don't see it enough. And I guess that must make you feel very, warms your heart.
yeah. Initially, it was really overwhelming, I have to
Mm-hmm.
say, because obviously you're caught up in it, and it's hard to actually see. And we've been working on it. Me myself, actually, Siobhan from So Sad, and Michelle home from Fit Clinic. So the three girls, and Karen, in
Yeah,
fairness, was four of us working on this since October. So there's a lot of preparation involved in it, and there's a lot, and it was my first festival, so it was a huge, huge thing. Like, had I have known really what I was taking on,
yeah,
I listened to my intuition, and I just go for it. And I was guided and trusted the universal along the whole way, which was amazing. And yeah, had I have known then, like, how much work was actually going to go into it, but like the sense of achievement and the
yeah.
sense of overwhelm was it took me a good few days to actually even process it, and I'm still processing it at the moment, because it was so powerful. It was so powerful. And I mean, to see everybody, the feedback, and all the amazing women that connected on the day, the influencers, how they all came on board. Everybody was just so supportive to come on board, to give their time, to give their energy, to create this event. Like, it was my concept, but it wasn't my event.
Yeah.
It was a collective energy, I think, and it was such a special moment, I think, in Ireland, for the women of Ireland. And I think
Absolutely.
that even the energy and the ripple effect from it and the legacy from it is just, it's incredible. And there's so much more to come from Festival Maná. And
That was my next question, Lorraine, because I did see that there was a bit of a petition there going on, that to get it going around the country, kind of on tour.
yeah.
What do you think of that?
So I think it's amazing.
Yeah,
I again, like the day after, again, I'm just channeling all this energy. So the day after, I was like, it just came to me. St. Bridget's Day, like what an
yeah,
incredible day! It's the first time it's been a bank holiday. Like St. Bridget is a triple goddess. She's just an amazing woman. And me as a child, I've always had a St. Bridget's Day cross in my house. I'm just really as I said, spiritual in that path of St. Bridget. And my grandmother, her name is Bridget, she was born on St. Bridget's Day. So I've got a whole
wow,
load of a huge connection to St. Bridget, and she is such an incredible woman that she needs to be celebrated. And
yeah,
I think to bring her energy, and that fiery energy of St. Bridget to the women of Ireland, I think it's incredible. So we're going to meet in the Phoenix Park, the Pope's Cross. So again, I was waiting to find out where it was going to happen,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
if I'm finding out.
Do you
But
know?
again, it's just tapping into channeling energy.
We've
And
when we were kids, we had the Bridget's Cross in the house as
yeah,
well, and it was just when you're kids, you don't, it's just something that's on the wall.
yeah,
And again, like I didn't really find out about St. Bridget till I started this podcast, and I had Laura Murphy on, who's I don't know if you know Laura, but she's a poet and she's incredible. But she was talking about St. Bridget, and all of a sudden I was like, why didn't I? Like, where was this in, maybe in
yeah.
school or whatever? We didn't hear about it.
No, we didn't hear about it because I don't know. I suppose it's such a shame because
Yeah.
we've lost so much of these cultural, traditional rituals that
Yeah.
we used to have, and even at the festival, one of the girls, Breathwork, she makes St. Bridget's Day cloaks. And I didn't know about this either until she gifted me this beautiful cloak. Actually, I should have wearing it. It's absolutely amazing, but it's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's it's woven with some Celtic symbols. So what you can do, it's actually a scarf.
Right.
A barath is a scarf. So what she does is she actually upcycles old scarf. So you bring it along, and she'll stitch in all these Celtic symbols, and the energy of St. Bridget is put into the scarf, and you hang it out on the eve of St. Bridget's Day, and the dew in the air actually blesses it and protects you for the year. And traditionally, years ago, like my grandmother would have done this. So I'm just so fascinated by
Yeah.
all of these old traditions that we used to have and that we've lost. So I'm really feeling strongly that I want to bring back all these old traditions, and the right people are just coming into my life to be able to allow me to be able to
Yeah.
have that platform for bringing back all these old traditions that we've lost along the way. So we're going to have the girls actually from the Brack Bridge there on the day, on St. Bridget's Day, to upscale some old scarves, and we'll all
Amazing.
have that powerful St. Bridget's energy, healing and protective. Like she was the goddess of healing and
Yeah.
protective energy, yeah, as
Um,
well. So
can I ask you this? Because I know you know about this, and I haven't a clue, but I see it often. Um, Cacao, the drink, and I saw like people have mentioned on this podcast before, but I've never had it. Karen was telling me about it, and there's like cacao with like mushroom and all the stuff that goes into it.
yeah.
Anyway, what like is it like? I don't know what it is. I have no idea. I just see pictures all the time of people drinking it, probably yourself as well. And what
Yeah.
is it like?
So it's cacao is a plant medicine.
Hmm.
Okay, it comes. It's the original cacao plant. So the cacao that we drink is called ceremonial cacao.
Hmm.
It comes from Peru. Now it comes from different parts of the world now, but like it originates sort of from Peru, and it's embraced with the spirit of Mama Cacao. So Mama Cacao
Okay.
has this healing spiritual energy. It's a healing spiritual feminine energy that's held within the cacao plant. It's all harvested by women. It's formed by women, handled by women. So it's really sacred plant medicine. It's a plant medicine. And it's a heart healing, heart opening medicine. So it's a beautiful, beautiful experience to have. So in a cacao ceremony, you drink the cacao and you drink it with intention. And it allows you to really drop into your heart
Right.
to just feel and heal. So I would always say I'd invite in the spirit of Mama Cacao to allow us to see what we need to see, to feel what we need to feel, and to heal what we need to heal. Um, so that's on a spiritual level, but
Yeah.
on a physical level, it's actually a superfood. So it's full of magnesium, it's full of antioxidants,
Right.
minerals. Like it's really packed with so much nutrition in it. It's an amazing drink to have. It stimulates your blood flow, so it really gives you a bit of an energetic boost as well. It releases serotonin in the brain. It releases the feel-good hormone, so it can be used as a natural antidepressant almost, like, because it actually does improve your mood. It gives you that blissful feeling. So on so many levels, it's just an amazing addition to your daily routine. I would have it every day now. I've just had a cup.
Did you? Well, can I? And you know what my next question is going to be, because is it nice though? Like, apart from all that, I don't want to just. I don't want to dismiss everything that you said. I'm not dismissing that. I just, because sometimes people are just going to ask that question, aren't they?
No, I absolutely love it. It depends on how you make it, and it can be made in so many different. The beauty about cacao is anyone that facilitates or works with the medicine has their own take and energy on how you should drink it, how you should make it, what intentions you should set with it. So it's very much individual to the facilitator. Whereas I really like having it with honey. I'll have it with maybe some cinnamon, some salt, a little bit of cayenne pepper, because it gets into your bloodstream quicker. I'd use a plant milk. Some people just make it neat on water, where it's literally just cacao and water. For me, I really like to enjoy it. So it's part of my daily routine that I like to embrace all the layers of it. And it gives you that time. I think, like, as opposed to coffee, I've recently stopped drinking coffee, but I'm sort of back on 1 cup a day. But I'm trying to eliminate coffee from my diet. But so when you're drinking your cacao in the morning, you're actually giving yourself that time to be mindful with your intentions, to be mindful with dropping into your heart and allowing it to just really flood through your body. And that's exactly what it does. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful experience.
I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it.
You'll have to check out a ceremony.
That's
There's so many out there. So, like, I mean, see who you feel called to.
This is it. I'm going to do it that way. I try my best, if possible, to take something like almost physical from an episode and do it. So I think this is what I'm going to try from this. But I also want to talk to you a little bit about that idea of, you spoke a bit having, like, a tough time over Christmas and stuff like that. And, again, I guess it's who's, you've got people have a certain routine of how to make themselves feel better and do things like that. When you are feeling like that, what is your go-to? How do you look after yourself?
I try as much as I can now. I was really, really sick. I probably forgot to mention that. On top of everything, just to top it off, I had that really bad virus. So I couldn't, like, my go-to if I'm feeling out of sorts is exercise. My first and foremost is exercise, breathwork, and cacao. They'd be my first 3 go-to. So, and journaling, because I like to just express how I feel through journaling. So because I was so sick, I couldn't exercise. I could barely have cacao. I was really sick. I had a really high fever and had all this. So I actually just had to be present in each moment and trust that this too shall pass and get through, because there was a lot of grief and pain, and I've experienced grief and pain in my life before, and I just know that there's actually nothing that you can do. Only time will heal. And I know it's the most cliche thing to say when somebody's struggling so much, going through grief and pain, but the only thing you can do is get through each moment. You can't even say each day, but each moment. So, and then supporting your children through that. And it's hard, but you just know that you have a stronger strength within you, I suppose, to get through it. And
I think it's always an interesting thing to me, the idea of being present. And you can kind of tie that in with meditation. It's a good way of trying to anchor yourself. Or I know breath work is huge, and people might wonder what exactly breath work is, but my very fundamental idea of breath work was when I was having panic attacks. Fortunately, I don't have that many anymore, but when I was having them, this is what I was told to do, was to breathe and breathe. And immediately I was thinking, oh yeah, sure, like, that's good. I'm quite cynical, but I was thinking that's not going to work if I'm in the middle of a shopping center or something. But strange enough, it works quite well. But that idea of just being in that moment, I think people find that very difficult.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
And because you're either in the past, present, or the past or the future,
Yeah.
And another huge thing I would say, and it's a very, very difficult thing to do, and I find it quite difficult, is to just allow things to happen, and to understand that we cannot control life.
Yeah.
Life is going to happen to us. We can control how we respond to life. We can control how we react to life, but we cannot control the external factors of life. It's going to happen regardless. And death and is something that is inevitable, and we're all going to die at some stage, and it's something that we cannot control. But yeah, when it happens, it's the most difficult thing to get through. But ultimately, like, we're here for this one life, and how I found the strength and the power to remember that, it actually made me stronger to say, like, through all this pain, through all this grief, through everything I'm going through, I actually feel stronger. It's a really unusual place to come from, but
yeah, no, but
I don't know.
But
like, my lowest points, that's what I said, my lowest points
yeah.
make me a much more resilient and stronger person. But to feel like, we've got this one life. Look, life is so short. I'm going to live it to the best of my ability. I'm going to show up for myself. I'm going to show up for other people. I'm going to follow my heart. I'm going to follow my dreams.
Yeah, I think we forget to take from those moments when we have been through something very difficult and we've been very strong and resilient to get through it. I think we forget to take those with us, and then we're in the next battle and we think we're useless and we can't find our way out again. And we haven't learned from the past of how strong we can be, which is a shame,
Which is a shame. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do, but through practice, like everything, you can get there. And through reminding yourself, I am strong. I am strong. I'm powerful. I use that mantra all the time in my circles, in everything that I do. It's like, I am strong. I am powerful. I can do this. And just reminding yourself of your own strength.
I'm like 50-50 at times, I think. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then you're sometimes like, oh, God, I'm terrible. But, but I'm
in the gym, I'm like, I can do
this. Yeah. And then I try to lift the bar and I'm like, no, I can't do that.
You start telling yourself that you can't do it, you won't do it.
Yeah, that is, and you know what? That's the worst part, because I am a coach in CrossFit and I do CrossFit, and I'll tell myself I can't do it, but I'll tell everyone else that they can do it.
They can. Oh, so you need to practice what you've preached, Eric.
I do. Yeah, absolutely right. I do have to practice what I preach. I want to ask you as well about, like,
I love CrossFit, by the way.
Oh, do you CrossFit?
I left my CrossFit closed there 2 years ago, but I loved CrossFit. I am considering to go back into the cult.
Yeah, the cult that is. But it's very. I find it very enjoyable, and as long as you're not being silly, I think it's important. Because it is. You have to be. I think one thing about CrossFit, I don't know if you found this when you were there, Lorraine, but I find that some people tend to look at the person beside them and think, I have to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you may not be capable of it, and then you get injured and you have to miss it for a month.
100%. You need to leave the ego at the door in CrossFit.
Yeah, you have. And
in all aspects of life, you're looking at other people. I want to do what they're doing. Like, you need to just focus on your own journey. I have to say, I am a competitive person, but in CrossFit, like, you'd be competitive in your WOD or whatever, but like, when you're doing your weight training, you have to be very, you just have to be very smart and not overdo it. Like, I'm 43, so I'm advanced in years.
Yes, well,
so like, what's more important to me is flexibility, strength, as opposed to egotistically lifting 160.
Yeah, and this is it, like, because there is other aspects that you're yoga. I do jiu-jitsu. I don't want to be, there's certain reasons why I don't want to be very, very strong. I'd rather be, like you said, a little bit flexible.
Combination.
Do you find it an expensive business to kind of keep on top of everything? Like, with like yoga, meditation. Now, I'm kind of asking from maybe someone who's listening to this from an outsider perspective, because I've told people about, where I found yoga and where I get it from. And, there's meditation and there's, you can read up about this. But some people, when they hear about all this, like, oh, I have to do nutrition now, I have to buy loads of, superfoods, all that kind of stuff. I know there's a ladder, but some people tend to think this is too expensive. I'll just sit down and do nothing, you know.
I think exactly, but there's a price to pay on your own health, and for me, that price is I'd pay anything for my
Yeah,
own, obviously, health. But there's so much free content out there. You
yeah,
don't have to be booking into classes. You don't have to be going and getting like the best of stuff. You can go to Aldi and shop really cheaply with nutritious food. Sleep is free.
yeah.
The breath is free.
Mhm.
Movement is free. The parks, the local areas are free. So I think if somebody's saying that it's too expensive to live a healthy life, it's an excuse. And
Yeah,
bottom line, you need to look at that. Put
yeah,
it back on them.
yeah, and
Now, I know CrossFit is expensive, but
yeah,
so you have to cut your cloth to meet your measure. If it's
mm,
something that you're really interested in and you really enjoy it, I would cut my cloth to meet my measure to
yeah,
maintain my CrossFit class.
yeah, of course. And it's like,
So it's what you prioritize in your life. So prioritize that over getting a takeout, maybe. Do you know what I mean? It's when you break
yeah,
it down to daily budgets and what you have to spend on a daily basis. You can do everything and access everything for
yeah,
free, or you can invest whatever €3 or €4 a day, whatever it costs you to actually be in a CrossFit club, have that community, develop your skills, get stronger. Have an amazing body, whatever
yeah.
it is you want, whatever your goals are, it's specific to you. So yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there that just make excuses for why they're not.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's, I can't afford to buy that kind of food, and then you'll not saying you shouldn't go out, but like you go out and spend 120, €140 on a night out, like, and it's kind of like, well,
Mm.
you know, you have to decide if this which way you want to go, and if you do want to go the healthy route, you can go the healthy route. And like you said, that free content, like that yoga and stuff is all there on YouTube.
Yeah, there's like I would have just practiced yoga on YouTube for years. Yoga
Yeah,
with Adrian, she's doing it. She's
I did
actually
that.
doing
Yeah,
it. It's amazing,
yeah.
and so she does a 30-day. For anyone that's watching, just Google yoga with Adrian and start the 30-day program. She's just started one in January. It's an amazing. There's amazing content in it. It covers actually yoga, mindfulness, breathwork. I think she even has journaling and everything in it now. It's brilliant. So I know the current climate, everything is expensive now.
Yeah,
Like, it does annoy me. But you do need to you still need to value yourself and your own mental health and your own physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. You need to value that, and whatever amount of money you can actually invest in that, try and invest it as wisely as you possibly can.
absolutely.
Again, you can completely do it all for free and just eat healthily. I know people like between interest rates and everything going up now, it's crazy times that we're living in. So don't not invest in
Mhm.
yourself because of money, because you can completely access
Yeah,
so much free content.
absolutely. I wanted to ask you a little bit also about workshops, because I know there'll be people who will be interested in that. What do you? I'm sure the workshops are different every time, but like, could you give us kind of a rough outline?
Yeah. So I haven't started my workshops yet, but they're
Hmm.
coming back in February. At the moment, I do an empowering women's workshop, which covers sort of very much everything from
Hmm.
exercise to nutrition to your mental health. So it even covers hormone health and stuff like that. So it covers a vast variety of everything that a woman would need. I do mother and daughter circle workshops, which is the cutest
Hmm.
workshop you'll ever do. It's amazing. I love it. I had my own mother and my own daughter at it, the
Ah,
last one. So that's really nice, because I think the younger we can allow our children to get involved in this type of a practice, it's going to just really have so much potential for them in the future in dealing with their own mental health, being able to speak in circles, being able to tap into,
hmm,
their own breath and meditation. I know schools do a lot of stuff like this now, more holistic practices within the curriculum, I think, which is amazing. And then I do cacao ceremonies.
hmm,
What else do I do? I do so much. Yeah, and I do weekly women's circles on Portmarnock Beach. So they're coming back on a Wednesday, and I will have Saturday dates coming soon. That's just a weekly circle. We meet, we do yoga, we do breathwork meditation. We have our little cup of cacao. We
Mm.
share in a circle, so everybody gets an opportunity to speak. Again, there's no pressure if you don't want to share or speak. You can just say, I'm Lorraine and I'm here today just to be part of this. Do you know what I mean? So it's very informal. We have a great laugh. We have a little dance and then go for a dip at the end. So that's a good one to check out. And then I have the Phoenix Park St. Bridget's Day gathering on the 6th of February.
I just realized that I knew you did the Portmarnock thing because I knew some people on Instagram, or follow some people on Instagram, I should say, who've been on this, who have been at it. So I'm just copping on. Yeah, I'm just copping on that was your circle. And again, this is, well, I didn't think I'd get into the cold water stuff again, but I've done it a little bit now. When I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. I mean, I struggle with it. I hate everything about getting in, but I love everything about getting out. And I'm sure that's kind of a common theme.
Yeah.
But can you give us your mindset going into a cold water? Because that's what people worry about. That they overthink about it.
Like 100%. I done my first swim of the year yesterday because obviously everything going on. I didn't get around to it. So I was like, me and my friend were doing it, and we were like, oh my God, it's going to be so cold, because it was like a beautiful day. And I said, we'll just focus on the sun, the energy from the sun.
Right.
So it is 100% your mindset before you get into it. But it's the most invigorating thing that you'll ever do. I absolutely love cold water therapy. It's another huge part of my healing journey. When I first went out to Portmarnock Beach was because I was going through a lot of my own pain and healing.
Yeah.
And I actually crave the cold water because of the impact on how it makes me feel afterwards. It's incredible. It's incredible.
It's very, do you know what it is, Lorraine? What I find from it, it's like when sometimes you can't find little victories in a day. When you do that, like, especially when I would be, like you mentioned, my mind is always like busy, and I'm always overthinking things. But when I get out of there, and I mostly obviously in Athlone, you can do it here in the lakes, but God. Yeah. But I've been, like, my mom's up in Dublin, and I've been up to the Black Rock there and gone in a couple of times, and it is a victory. It feels great. Physically and mentally it feels great, but also that little thing of like, it's whoever you are, I think it's an achievement to get into water that cold.
It is. It's a huge achievement, and it's so empowering. And like, when you're in it, there is nothing happening in your mind, because obviously you just have to focus on your body's response to the cold water, and that's how it clears your mind and completely. It's like a little, like, blank canvas for those few minutes that you can have that just peaceful place within your own mind and your own body. And even on a physical level, it's hugely beneficial for your body, for recovery, for your nervous system, for everything. It's an amazing practice to bring in, even if you were to do it once a week. I used to do it a lot more because I used to work out beside Portmarnock, I was always there. But now I don't get there as much, so I'm definitely going to invest in maybe having something at home that I can access it a lot more. I do it on a daily basis. I know you can do the cold shower. That'd be a good way to start.
That was kind of, someone said that to me, that you should start that way, and I said I can't do it in the shower. I need to actually be there. But my last experience, Lorraine, was I got into the sea at Blackrock there, right? And there was a few ways. It wasn't crazy, but there were, it was rough enough. And my mom wanted to take a picture, right? So she's standing up on top here, looking down at me, and I'm like, probably, maybe there, and I'm kind of thinking, I can't get my chest in. I was really struggling. And she goes, go down in the water. And I was getting more annoyed with her, like, not, you know what I mean? I wasn't really. I was annoyed at the cold, not really with her. So I went under, like, to dip, and stupidly, as I came up, my glasses got knocked off, and I do not know how this happened, but as they came off, I just put my hand under the water and just caught them. Like, I didn't see them or anything. I was in serious trouble because I was up in Dublin for a few days, and if I didn't have my glasses, like, I'm terribly blind. Like, but it was one of those ones that it was another victory, catching the glasses like that.
Yeah,
but
it's like, no, it was meant to happen. You weren't
it
meant to
was,
lose it.
yeah, and it happened to my mom's not long after then. She had the same thing, and she managed to reach down, and they were actually just on the sand as well. This was, I think, this was down. I can't remember where it was actually. Maybe it was in Florida, but it was one of those
Yeah,
moments of pure luck.
look, yeah.
Yeah,
I think when the waves come, I love. For some reason, there's so much energy in the water when it's
yeah,
really wavy. It's like a workout.
it
I
is.
they're your best days. Like when it's calm and tranquil, it's lovely to calm the mind. But when there's waves there, we have great crack now. I have to say, Portmarnock.
Do you do you I had dropping names all over the place. I had Ashleen Daly on, the former UFC fighter, and
Okay.
do you know her?
No,
She actually goes
maybe.
into Portmarnock. She
I might
uses
know her to see. I'm useless with names.
no. She asked me because I wanted to ask you this because she was coming out. I don't know if it was her actually, or maybe it was one of her friends. Were coming out with like they have the the wetsuit on,
Yeah.
as they go in, and they were kind of uh, laughed at by the older generation who were going in past them, who were going in just a pair of shorts or whatever they were using. Yeah, do you think? Yeah, I kind of think it is as well. And I was going to get one, and then it
No,
says,
listen, you do you. Who cares? You're still getting into the water.
"Would you wear a wetsuit
People
though?"
say it's cheating. I just think you're getting to the water. You're doing
Yeah,
amazing. So who
you're out and
cares?
about. You're like,
You.
yeah, you don't like. I suppose you're a seasoned, swimmer at this stage. You don't really need that kind of.
Well, like you could do it one. Could have
Yeah,
done. But I'm mad. I bring like I had the gloves yesterday, and I always forget to put them on. Like, and I'd be running to the water. I was like, oh, I forgot my gloves. I've got like they're in the bag, but
yeah,
you forget. So listen, you're better off just do whatever. Just once you're
yeah,
there. Like actually, if anyone watching there and they do make it to Portmarnock, it's an amazing community and it's really welcoming. Saturdays are great crack down in Portmarnock. So if anyone
yeah.
fancies one, just make your way up there.
Get
And
up there. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
there's loads happening. There's free runs on the beach. There's yoga. There's loads happening up in Portmarnock. So
It's
just
a
keep
nice
posted.
beach.
It's a lovely
Yeah,
beach. It's really safe as well. Yeah, and it's just the community of people. Like everybody is so supportive, so friendly. It's just you would never feel like an outsider. You'd
yeah.
never feel like that you can't actually go. And there's always music and cakes and celebrations. It's a really cool place.
That's class. It's great to know that there's something like that for people if they want to go. But
There's
uh,
loads of lakes down in Westmeath. Like I would have always
yeah,
went to Loch Derrybara. I had
yeah,
a mobile home on Loch Derrybara and then Loch Oul as well.
yeah.
So there's
There's
loads of places that you can still access it. You don't have to always come to Dublin, but Loch Oul is amazing. You can jump off the
yeah.
thing.
Like you're right because obviously with being called the Lake County, there's just they're obviously
I
everywhere,
love Westmeath, yeah.
and they're like I don't know. Like I've always had this. Some people say, well, if the lakes are colder in the winter and then the sea is colder in the summer, but you always hear either way. They're cold either way,
Yeah.
regardless. It's
Listen,
winter.
cold is cold. The colder the better, I say.
Well, and
Jump off that. That's a deadly thing to do now. Anytime I'm down in Westmeath, I'll be down there quite often. I go and do
yeah,
lock and jump in. Now it takes
jump
me
in.
ages, like that. But once I dive, well, I don't dive actually. You have to jump.
Yeah, that'd be a deadly thing to do. If you dove off that now, that'd be class.
Can you dive? We always
Uh
question. I
I
haven't
don't
ever
know.
seen people dive because, like, it's deep, but it's not that
Yeah,
deep. But it's clear water. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot. Actually.
yeah. There is.
Brendan does a lot of swimming
Yeah,
there. We're always on the lookout.
yeah. Always check and see if Brazzy's around. Brazzy, yeah. Brazzy is always doing the cold water swimming, isn't he? He
Yeah,
loves that. But well, I look, it seems to be, and he obviously talks a lot about his mental health as well, and it helps
yeah.
him with that. We
You
we
might get him
seen
on next, Dirk.
what?
You might get him on next.
Oh, maybe one day. I think he's got his own podcast. He's probably busy
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Um, I want to ask because we've covered so much, and if we haven't covered anything, maybe you can answer with this one. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Me, I like to. I don't get much spare time,
Yeah, I was
but
going to say.
like I spend time with the kids,
Yeah,
and my family, and we'd have food and stuff like that. I like to go down to Westmeath because I
yeah,
had a home down there. Yeah, and just be with my friends and chill. And I'm not mad into shopping or anything. I like to read, like, and but I still feel like that's just chilling out, just reading. And
is that like? when you talk about reading, do you read as someone who's trying to learn, or do you read as someone who's just trying to
I am
enjoy?
more of a learner reader.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's why I don't feel that as chilling out. Now, sometimes yeah, no, I'm more of a learner reader, so it's always informational based.
Yeah, do you know what I do, Lorraine? I don't know if like this it helps me anyway, but I always have on the go a non-fiction book about whatever I'm interested at the moment, and then a fiction, and I kind of dance between the two, and it gives you that kind of idea that you can. It's on the mood then, depending on the mood, what you want to do. And look, it's the same with films. You'll sometimes you'll watch something really serious, and then you watch something completely dumb, and But I don't get the impression that you get to sit down a lot.
I don't generally. I don't even watch TV, to be
You're not,
honest.
yeah, me neither,
No,
actually.
I don't watch TV. I don't even have a TV in my bedroom.
TVs in bed. Actually, Lorraine, I keep interrupting, but TVs in bedrooms, I think it's a terrible idea.
I'm just not a TV person. I
Yeah.
never was. So I wouldn't even turn the TV on now. I'd listen to the radio quicker
Mm.
than I'd turn on the TV. But like I just meet up with my friends, go out, like go to the beach. For me, that's social.
Yeah.
Go to I like to experience other people's ceremonies as well. I think that's
Right.
really important as well to do the work myself. And I'd call that my downtime.
Yeah, it's homework, but it's your downtime.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
not really homework because it's nice to be held. Like it's
Yeah.
hugely important for me actually to do a lot of healing work,
Of
to be
course,
able
yeah.
to
Um,
show authentically.
a very important question. Where can people find you?
The best place really to find me, I suppose, is my website or
Yeah.
on Instagram. But Instagram is probably my go-to. But yeah, my website. You can sign up to my mailing list. And I send out like weekly, monthly emails, just updating, I suppose, the collective.
Yeah. Well, and
What's going on? But yeah, um, email or Instagram. I'm on
what's your
Facebook as well, but I'm not really on it.
what's your Instagram name for them?
The Wellness Coach 2020.
The ones coach 2020. If you
Yeah,
there's no reason you're not going to find it, but if you can't, you could just go into my Instagram page and I follow you, obviously. So you're
there
there.
you go.
There you go.
Or follow Festival Mana as well.
Yeah.
My page, Festival Mana, because that's very woman orientated as well, and it's all about empowering the ladies.
Absolutely.
So
And
anything that's going on as well, I'm gonna, because I really feel it's important that we support each other.
yeah,
Like other people doing the same work instead of seeing other people as rivals. I think
yeah,
what we need to do is we need to collectively come together, because the more people that do this, the better it is for everybody, and we should all experience different energies and find what feels good for you.
yeah.
That's one of my go-to mottos.
Yeah. And if you the Phoenix Park, 6th of February.
6th of February, Phoenix Park. I want to see all the Manas meet up.
All the Manas up there. Lorraine, you've been a fantastic guest, and
you,
very inspiring with what you're doing with the festival. So, if you don't mind, hang around for 1 minute. I'll close this out. I'll take a quick picture for the archives, and we'll go our separate ways. Is that all right?
Perfect.
Brilliant. Right. I also want to thank John Francis for the tech side of things. I always thank my mum, my dad, my granddad, Jaron Calvin. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you would. And like we were just chatting about there, we're both on Instagram and on Facebook, and we're on Twitter, kind of. The podcast platforms are always the same: Spotify, Apple, Anchor, Google Podcasts. Thanks to everyone who watched today. Follow Lorraine. Lorraine, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll just give my website details because
Oh, yeah.
So it's Lorraine at thewellnesscoach.info.
You heard it here. Right.
There you go.
Have a lovely week, everyone. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Take care. Lovely. Bye.